going on, guys? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is July 19th of 2017. So, guys, let's not wait any longer. Let's jump right into this analysis. First off, as always, starting off with Bitcoin. There's a few takeaways from this, guys, that I'm really starting to pick up. And there's no negativity in the price action right now. I got to say, we had the amazing blowout day, a 15% return one day. And then we had a second day where we had a 3.6% return. So it was holding a lot of those returns, which is a pretty positive sign. However, if you guys are current subscribers to my channel, you'll probably notice if you take away with what I say. I understand I talk a lot, and I really try to dive into things. The big takeaways, what I always talk about, usually have to do with talking about the big evens, meaning resistance and support levels through big even numbers, the 50s, the hundreds, the thousands, and any kind of given price level. And then the second thing I always say is to watch simple technical indicators like the moving averages, and watch the volume. The volume is the kind of icing on the cake when it comes to price action to really say whether or not this is something that's going to last or not. So I'm going to break it down one by one and talk about those same things that I always do, because they are fundamentals of price action. And they will tell us whether or not something is going to go a certain direction, if it's going to hold, if there's worry in the market, if there's greed in the market, meaning the prices are going to go up. So let's just take a moment to really look at things in a non-biased standpoint and in a technical standpoint. So I gotta tell you all, the reason why I'm not excessively optimistic about this on a technical standpoint is because we don't need to look here at the daily. We can already see that it's starting to curve over, which this alone on the daily is not a bullish pattern. This is very reminiscent of a bull trap, but I'm going to go a little bit further in backing my claim up as we go here to the hourly. So we go ahead and scroll over here. Now, obviously, I mean, I'm not saying that this is bad, that we're getting a pullback. I think that's completely healthy and fine. You need pullbacks, and we've had a few of them throughout this little uptrend. So that can't be the one reason you're like, oh, Bitcoin's crashing now because it went down 2 to 3% over the past few hours. That's not a reason to be fearful. What is a reason to be fearful, and this is why I love Crypto Watch, it kind of automatically gives you the high and the low of the range that you're viewing. And this is exactly what I want to hit home with you guys. Right over here, you can obviously see that the high was 2,400. As I always say, the big evens, and it grows in importance as it goes. We saw Bitcoin resisted at 3,000, okay? 3,000 is a huge even. And as we look here, where's the resistance here? Where was it resisted back a few days ago and July 12th and on the 13th? 2,400, okay? And I told you all, if we can't get past 2,400, and we can't get past 2,500 as well, which would be even more difficult, we're going to get a pullback. And look what we got. We got a really stellar pullback, guys. And just within a matter of a few days, we were getting some pretty large pullbacks. Now, however, we did have the rebound. And after the rebound, we had it looks like on the hourly, a pretty steady uptrend back to that price level to test and see if we could get past 2,400. Now, this was Bitcoin's opportunity to shine, where if there was really the eagerness and the sense of volume to push past through the sell walls and to get the price higher, that's what would prove that, large-scale investors are getting back in. But I'll be honest with you all, as much as the volume is relatively impressive, I can't shy away from it whatsoever, there wasn't enough volume to get past the sell side at 2,400. And we look right back up here. What price level did it stop at? Oops, excuse me. What price level did it stop at? Go ahead and look at it. You're starting to see the trend of the big evens? 2,400. As I've said, guys, the big evens matter. I'm no stock guru, but I know technical fundamentals when I see them. And to be honest, until it gets past 2,400, I can't be confident that this is over. Like I said, you can start adding here, but I wouldn't add everything. And there's a big reason to be, cautious about that and not be overly optimistic or overly bearish. Just say, we don't know. No one knows where the market is going to go. Fact. Now, we might all agree that, I would say that 80% of us who do crypto trading, we think cryptocurrencies have a lot of potential and that they're going to skyrocket over the next 5 to 10 years. Sure. But you and I don't know what's going to happen in the next day. Nobody knows that unless you are one of the big dogs who is selling all the coins or coming in to buy all the coins. We are average everyday investors, and the only thing we've got outside of holding long term and thinking in the long term is technical analysis, folks. That is the only thing we have, and it's really not that difficult to use. So, what really could happen from here on out in a sense of strategy? Well, we could find support at one of these moving averages on the hourly, and we could come up and retest 2400 and possibly move up. However, what I really think you're going to see is a test of the support level right here, and we're going to break through. And whether it's going to be fast or slow, we might slowly start to pull back to the lows we were at 1800. I really feel like we're going to get that, guys, because if we can't get past 2400 right now, when there's supposedly this much optimism and a candle where we had 15%, I don't know when we will. Supposedly, this optimism has come back, if you look at it in a fundamental sense. A lot of people have been technically saying that the SegWit issue has been resolved. I'm not really fearful of SegWit, to be honest with you all. I don't think we're going to get the hard fork that everyone's talking about. That being said, even though I understand all that and there is a possibility of it, I don't really have any fear of it. However, the issue has not been completely resolved. There have still been some people who have not adopted SegWit yet. It has not been implemented. And if it had been on the path to being implemented, where we know for sure, yes, it is going to be implemented, there's no worry of a hard fork, Bitcoin would be at 3,000 right now. It would. That is the only reason we are not at 3,000 right now. And the optimism behind cryptocurrencies, even during this time of fear, has attracted more and more people. It has attracted more and more money, and people are ready to get into cryptocurrencies. However, the problem we have right now is we don't know whether or not SegWit is going to get implemented completely, and if we're going to have the hard fork. And that scares big scale investors. That is why this pump up in price from about 1826 to 2400, in my opinion, is from a lot of retail investors or small groups of investors who aren't pumping in that much money into Bitcoin and are just getting in eagerly because they're afraid they're going to miss out. So, I mean, only time will tell, guys. I know that it might seem like I have a sense of bias towards the downside. It's not that I just want it to stay down. What I say here today is not going to affect Bitcoin's price. I'm too small scale of a YouTuber and a commentator to even leave a mark on this market. But that being said, I just don't see it going to 2400 yet. I think, if anything, on the positive side, we'll get a pullback to one of the moving averages, and maybe a bounce off if we go back here to the 100-day on the daily. I think what we'll see is a bounce off of the 100-day maybe. On the optimistic side, it'll slowly curve amongst the 100-day, and it would curve back up towards the SegWit update. That could be a possibility, but how this daily candle is building up, it is an absolute bull trap. You can see it repeatedly. What is this right here? So you see like the big candles, and they start getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they start kind of slowly flattening out, right? The price level isn't expanding. And then you see a sell-off, and more sell-off, and then we see that curve again, and a sell-off, curve again, and a sell-off. It's very common right now. See, we just turned red, guys. If this candle goes down to its lows today, and we start going downward, that is not something to be optimistic about. No, I'm not trying to FUD here. Like I said, I don't really care much about SegWit and this and that. I think everything's going to work out fine because the large team that works on Bitcoin is going to make sure that nothing happens to Bitcoin because many of them own a lot of Bitcoin. So that being said, I think on a fundamental standpoint, Bitcoin's fine, but I think you could get it at a much cheaper price. I wouldn't really want to pay at these prices, to be honest, unless I knew that the uptrend was continuing. So, guys, like I said, patience pays. The market, and any market you talk about, this is a timed Warren Buffett quote, I know, being generic and quoting Warren Buffett, but it is a very true thing for long-term investors, and that is that markets are a device to take, well, it generally goes like this, pretty much take wealth from the impatient and give it to the patient. Meaning that if you can wait your time, and you get in at the right level you feel comfortable with, or at least have a strategy to go both ways, you'll be fine. Okay, there's no rush to get into Bitcoin right now. It's not going up 25, 30% each day. All right. So now we've talked and ranted on about Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum here has made quite a rebound. It hasn't completely doubled yet from its lows. However, had a low about 130, and we almost did double though. It almost went up 100% to almost 260, but it was 250. And we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback in the price. I mean, this is expected either way, whether or not you guys think that this is a bull trap or not. We are very much in need of a pullback after a 15% day in Bitcoin, and then around a 3 to 4% uptrend afterwards, or a candle that went up for the next day. And well, we've got our candidate here, Litecoin. I don't know why there's been a lot of negativity I've been hearing about Litecoin after the past few days. It's been holding relatively well compared to most cryptos in the sense of USD value. Now it is selling off a little bit in the sense of comparative to Bitcoin. That being said, it's still maintaining pretty well, guys. I don't see the negativity with it. If it still maintains that 50-day, this has got to be one of the best hedging tools you can use while Bitcoin is having its little, debate as to whether or not it wants to go up or down. I think that Litecoin's a pretty good investment here, guys. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's actually one of my more viewed videos right now. You guys should go check out my video on Litecoin possibly being the next Ethereum. I know it's kind of a wide claim, but I did a little bit of an analysis on it. I like the adoption of Litecoin. I like how there's a consistent team that's working and developing on it. The founder's still tied with it and trying to improve it, which I like. But yeah, go give it a check if you guys haven't seen it. But the big thing we have to take away here, I'm going to refresh real quick, is if we look here on the monthly, so this is a total month's worth of price action on the market cap, we're topping out right here, just like how I was pointing to y'all out on July 13th when Bitcoin flattened out at the $2,400 level, and now we're seeing resistance there. Look at the overall market capitalization, guys. I mean, you just can't, you can't get any more ironic than this. It can't just be a coincidence at this point. It looks like there's going to be some resistance here, so at least expect a little bit of a pullback. How much that is, I don't know. You guys got to set your levels that you're comfortable with. I know that, for example, I'm going to probably start feeling comfortable adding back when we go down to the lows of around 1900. Until I see a candle that makes me think that we're just going to break through 2500, I'm not eager to add, guys. We're not in a rush here. There's, like I said, patience can pay. Sometimes having cash is king. That's a common term in markets when you really allow patience to help pay off in the long term. So yeah, so let's do one last little recap over how altcoins are doing right now. IOTA down 20%. That seems like a pretty decent buy. Now it did have a good run up. I'll give it that. But I do love IOTA. I love it. Quantum's up 20%. That's impressive. But yeah, most of the coins are now. Stratus is pulling back. New Economy. Let's see what they're doing. Yeah, down 4%. Saneem's not looking all that good. Dash is hanging in there. But however, Litecoin, Ripple, a few of them are pulling. Yeah, you got to be patient, guys. I really think that we've got a little more of a pullback here, and you just got to start while the market is, going through a phase of fear, and while you're being patient, not only are you not stressing, you can spend this time to go out and find the altcoins that you want. Sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it? You can go out there and find the discounts that you want, and as things get cheaper, you're getting paid. You're getting paid to be able to get things at smaller prices, which is a good selling point, guys. So as we continue to watch Bitcoin here, looks like it's turning over, but we'll have to see, guys. I'm not making any calls right now. I'm just letting you all know that if we really start, printing lower prices, be patient. Let it do its thing. The Bitcoin is something that no one knows where it's going over the next week. I think we all know where it might go over the next year or two. We think it's going to go to the upside, and that's why we want to get it at a discount. But guys, Bitcoin is the outlet to buy all other altcoins. If you're interested in getting altcoins, you got to get interested in Bitcoin. And you got to be patient, because if you can wait and get back at the lows at 1826, you're going to be able to buy a lot more altcoins with that Bitcoin you buy. So patience will pay. All right, guys, that's it for the video. I appreciate y'all staying with me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already and you like the video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I've appreciated all the support you guys have given me. I know I'm still a small YouTuber. However, I want to keep on producing quality content. And if you got any recommendations, don't hesitate. Feel free to leave a comment below. And I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.